E-commerce fraud is getting more aggressive, and some of the latest numbers coming out of North America are pretty difficult to ignore. Signifyd recently published its 2026 State of Fraud report, using data from its commerce network, which includes more than 950 million unique digital wallets. And during the first 4 months of 2026, fraud pressure in North America increased 33% compared with the same period last year. That alone is significant. But when you dig deeper into the report, you start to see exactly where some of that pressure is coming from. Account takeover attempts increased 78% year over year, and card testing attacks increased a massive 175%. So what does that actually mean if you're running an e-commerce store? Let's start with card testing. Fraudsters get access to stolen card numbers from data breaches, phishing attacks, compromised accounts, and underground marketplaces. But they don't necessarily know which cards are still active. So instead of manually trying them one at a time, they can use automated systems to test huge numbers of payment credentials. They'll often start with smaller transactions or find merchants where they believe their attempts are less likely to be blocked. Once they identify a card that works, that card can then be used for much larger fraudulent purchases. And this is where things become particularly important for high-ticket merchants. If you sell a $30 product, a fraudster needs a lot of successful transactions to steal a meaningful amount of money. If you sell a $3,000 product, they only need to get one order through. The other major increase Signifyd reported was account takeover. That's when a fraudster gains access to a legitimate customer's existing account. This can be especially difficult to detect because the order might be coming from a real account with a real order history, a legitimate email address, and genuine customer information. The fraudster may change the shipping address, add a new payment method, or place an unusually large order. But because so much of the identity looks legitimate, traditional fraud rules don't always catch it. And that brings us to one of the biggest problems merchants face today. The obvious response to increasing fraud is to tighten your fraud filters, decline more orders, block more mismatches, treat every unusual IP address, different shipping address, or strange device signal as suspicious. But that creates another problem: false positives. A genuine customer can place an order while traveling. They can buy an expensive gift and ship it somewhere else. They can use a work computer. They can have an IP address hundreds of miles away from their billing address. They can recently move house. They can use their spouse's card. None of those things automatically make an order fraudulent. So fraud prevention is increasingly becoming less about finding a single red flag and more about understanding whether all of the information surrounding an order makes sense together. Can the customer be connected to the billing address? Can they be connected to the shipping destination? Does the phone number belong to them? Does the email have history? Does the IP make sense? Is there a reasonable explanation for the discrepancies? That's particularly important for high-ticket e-commerce, because incorrectly canceling a legitimate $5,000 order can be extremely expensive. You prevented zero fraud, but you still lost $5,000 in revenue. At the same time, approving the wrong $5,000 order could lead to a chargeback, lost merchandise, shipping costs, and chargeback fees. That's the balancing act. And the latest Signifyd numbers show that merchants are going to have to get better at it. Fraud pressure increased 33%. Account takeover increased 78%. Card testing increased 175%. Fraudsters are becoming more automated, more scalable, and better at hiding inside legitimate-looking transactions. The solution isn't to become scared of every order that looks slightly unusual. It's to investigate those orders properly and make better decisions. Because in high-ticket e-commerce, good fraud prevention isn't just about stopping fraud. It's also about knowing when it's safe to say yes. At Freak Labs, we can help. To find out how, go to freaklabs.com and start your free trial.